Let's talk about Kerkez first of all, then, because he looks really close to coming. I gather that all the talk while he was away with Hungary was, get these games done, focus on these, and then go back. Is that your understanding as well from people you spoke to?
Well, I was actually in Hungary
Oh,
at the
okay.
same time, so I did visit, not for the Sweden game in particular, but I was there for the Sweden game as well. And yeah, it was an interesting one. I think initially the word, the question, or sort of the wording from the Hungarian FA was, oh, he picked up a little niggle, so he's not going to be involved on for the Friday game. And then Saturday morning, straight after the Friday game, he was actually there in attendance on Friday. I did see him in the mix zone. He sort of popped his head over a little bit, but didn't really say much else. He was wearing casual clothes, nothing, no sort of Hungarian gear or anything like that. And then Saturday morning, the Hungarian FA sort of came out with a different wording and said he's left the camp for private reasons. So again, if you can put two and two together, first it's a knock, then it becomes a private reason. Yeah, I don't know if, you have to be a rocket scientist to know what's going on there.
Maybe a little bit just wanted to protect him because, I mean, I guess the nightmare situation for him would be, you know, a bad tackle or mistimed tackle. You get a bad injury and suddenly your dream move is gone. So I guess a little bit protecting the player, would you say?
Absolutely. And, obviously he'll have to pass a medical. So all of those things, it makes sense. For these games for Hungary are about preparing them for the World Cup and seeing the players who could be involved in those World Cup qualifying games. And let's be honest, again, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to know Milos Kerkez is going to be a starting player and a very important player for Hungary in those qualifiers. So he doesn't need to prove anything to Marco Rossi, the national team manager. So it just makes sense to not risk that move and to not risk him as well. I think, he's had a long season as well, so it's better for Hungary if he gets a rest. I believe he's on holiday now, so yeah, he deserves that, and hopefully everything goes well, and eventually he does end up at Liverpool.
Yeah, I think sooner rather than later. He seems keen on the move. I think it is sort of fair to say that that comes out of him, which is nice to see from a Liverpool fan point of view. Someone who is itching to get going. When we do eventually see him, he's one who we've seen in the Premier League. We've seen him light up this season. Do you think there's plenty still more to come from him?
Oh, absolutely. I think when I tweeted about how he wasn't nominated for Young Player of the Season, I was kind of surprised by that because 24-year-olds are getting nominated, but one of the best young players in the Premier League, who's only 21, isn't being nominated. And I'm sure everyone saw the reply, his reply under that tweet. I have no idea what it's about, but that kind of shows you the hunger and the determination that he wants to prove himself to everyone else, and he's got a lot more to give. And I'm sure come this time next season, if he's still in the Premier League, he's going to be nominated for that award.
He's got a lot of self-belief, hasn't he, which you need if you're going to succeed at any top club like Liverpool.
Yeah, one of my closest friends was actually a youth coach in Hungary when he first came to the country from Austria, and he couldn't speak a word of Hungarian at the time, but he was his captain because he was such an influential player, and he's just so determined. And it's probably not really a surprise that when he was just sort of 15, 16, they were already talking seriously about putting him into the first team, and he was a regular, really, and it was only in the second division. But by the time he was 16, he was very much firmly a regular in the first team setup.
It's been a phenomenal rise, hasn't it? For him, he seems to have a jetpack on his back on the pitch, but also in terms of his career as well, because he's risen through sort of quite quickly. You mentioned there not even being able to speak the language, but sort of being captain. So far, he's moved very quickly, through clubs because he's outgrown them, and we're obviously hoping from a Liverpool point of view that he's here for many years to come. But it has been a meteoric rise, and like I say, his career's gone faster than him down the left wing.
Yeah, and I think, like you got to have balls as well sometimes to have this meteoric rise, because we've seen a lot of Hungarian players or a lot of young players who make it to AC Milan, who are probably one of the biggest clubs in the world, alongside with Liverpool and Real Madrid and etc. And Milos decided that, they promised him he was going to be the backup to Theo Hernandez. They ended up signing Fode Ballo-Touré, which was probably the biggest mistake in Milan's uh, recruitment over the last couple of years. And he decided, you know what, that's fine. I don't care for my development, to better myself. I need to be playing. I need to make a level up. I've proven myself in the Primavera, which is the sort of Italian youth leagues. I've shown what I can do. I've come on as a teenager and scored twice as a left back in Milan's first team in pre-season. I'm ready for that next step. And he went to AZ Alkmaar, who promised him exactly that. And every step of the way, he's been brave and sort of bold to make important decisions, because even in 2023, 2 years ago, when he went to Bournemouth, before that, some big clubs were interested in him. But the main important sort of selling point, which incidentally was Richard Hughes was part of those negotiations, is now at Liverpool. The big sort of selling point for him at the time was the fact that they sort of promised him regular first team football. You're going to be our first choice. Some other big clubs said, you'll be backup for us, or you'll be competing with someone else. But Bournemouth said, come here, you'll be first choice, and that's the decision that he made, and it's a decision that obviously paid off for him.